All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the American Center Tashkent Small Grants Program Grants Information Session. This session will be recorded and it will be posted on the American Center Tashkent social media on YouTube. So if you still have questions, we will be answering comments under the video. And also, if you would like to revise whatever we discussed today, you will be able to go back to this video later. So thanks everyone for joining. And first of all, I would like to introduce our team on the call. Here we have today our Public Diplomacy Officer, Elvia Vaye. We have American Center Tashkent Director, Sardar Gaziev, and Budget and Grants Coordinator, Anarkhon Karimova, and myself, American Spaces Program Specialist, Gulshan Mahmudova. Before we start, I would like to give the floor to the U.S. Embassy Public Diplomacy Officer, Elvia Vaye. Elvia, over to you.
Thank you, Gulshan, and thank you everyone for being here today. I'm so excited to see that we have a quorum of many participants who are joining us, and it makes me so excited because one of our goals and our public diplomacy goals here in the embassy is to be able to provide assistance and opportunities for potential grantees to work with us. And the way we can do that is by having you submit to us your clear and well thought out ideas that can really tell us what exactly you're trying to do and how. So the purpose of this session today is to tell you exactly how to do that so that we can choose your applications for programs, and we do that a lot by seeing your clear ideas. And our team here is extremely experienced, so I encourage you to take this opportunity to ask all your questions and to really learn about what it is we're trying to do. There are many common pitfalls that we see with some of the applicants to our notice of funding opportunities. And so that is our goal today, is to tell you what to tell us so that we can hopefully fund your project in the future. So please ask all your questions, and please know that you are in great hands with our team here. And I hope that you really take advantage of this opportunity today. That's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Back to Gulshan.
Thank you so much, Elvia. So let me first share the presentation. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, it's visible.
Very good. All right, so let's start from the very beginning, probably. What are we going to talk about today? And what's the purpose of our session today? So our aim today is to outline procedures and give guidance for individuals considering applying for the ACT funds to conduct and deliver strategic programming. So it will give you a better understanding of the ACT activities, our core programming pillars, our programming priorities for fiscal year 2023 this year, as well as some information on grants submission procedures. As a result, your grant application process will be easier, and your application probably, hopefully successful. And at the same time, the session will allow us, Public Diplomacy Office at the Embassy, to make grantee selection process easier and have bigger number of quality applications. So let's see. Here's what we're gonna discuss today. We will overview American Spaces activities. We will talk about ACT Small Grants Program. You will know about our programming priorities, what kind of programs we want to see this year. We will also give some specific details on what kind of award it's going to be. It's going to be an award to individual. You'll receive some tips for writing an effective grant proposal, and we will walk through the application template. And then at the end, you'll have a chance to ask your questions, and we will do our best to answer your questions. You can also post your questions in the chat box now, and we will answer them at the end. So probably you heard about American Spaces in Uzbekistan. Of course, that's why you're here, probably. So what is American Center Tashkent? American Center Tashkent is a venue for public engagement that offers a welcoming and inspiring environment, trained staff, and modern technologies necessary to connect with the public in Uzbekistan in person and virtually. And it's supported by the US government. In total, there are more than 600 American spaces located in 140 countries around the world, and they all serve to connect the world with the United States. They are all modeled after the modern American libraries. They serve millions of visitors each year, and these technologically equipped spaces share American culture, values, and provide free access to American books, movies, English language, and cultural programs. So there are 6 pillars that all the programming is based on. As American Spaces try to promote critical thinking and thoughtful discussion of issues important to the US relationship with the host country, which is Uzbekistan in our case. They do it in keeping up with the commitment to a core tenet of democracy, upholding a citizen's right to free access to information. So here on the screen, you see 6 strategic core programs that we follow in our programming. We provide accurate and compelling, timely, and audience-appropriate information about the United States, its history, culture, society, values, and foreign policies. We facilitate English language learning through access to English language speakers, resources, computers, and internet access. American Spaces also promote higher education study through educational advising, and American Spaces foster people-to-people connections, increase understanding between the US and host country through cultural programs. We also support continuing engagement with US government exchange program alumni. We connect them to local audiences through alumni programs, which are credible local voices, and they can share firsthand information about the United States. And also empower current and future host nation leaders to develop skills in a wide array of areas that will help them meet global challenges, mitigate crises, support inclusive and sustainable economic growth. So these are the core pillars for American Spaces. So these grants are coming from the American Spaces Support Funds. The US government provides funding for American Spaces through a variety of funding possibilities. And one of the most prominent funding mechanism is American Spaces Support Funds. We call it short ASSF, and it's administered by the Office of American Spaces in Washington, D.C. So all American Spaces in the world and in Uzbekistan specifically work closely with the Office of American Spaces, which develops, supports modern, advanced, and advanced platforms, physical platforms, and public diplomacy engagement with foreign audiences. So Office of American Spaces, just for your understanding, information, Office of American Spaces was established in 2011, and it provides administrative support base that provides strategic direction, funding, and training to the hundreds of American Spaces around the world. So every year, Office of American Spaces sends information about support funds to the US embassies and consulates, and then public diplomacy sections, they, with the American Spaces, they identify the needs that could be addressed with funding to support strategic programming. And every year, funding priorities vary. So, for example, this year, the priorities include outreach to diverse audiences and programs to advance diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, climate-related programming, including environmental entrepreneurship, empowering women and girls, and working to promote democratic values and counter disinformation, including cooperation with other like-minded cultural centers, like, for example, Alliance Française or Goethe Institute. Now a little bit more specific information on the American Center Tashkent Small Grants Program, its history, and some other proposals that grant proposals that we supported. So ACT started American Center Tashkent Small Grants Program in 2017 to support individuals seeking organizing cultural and educational programs. And since then, it has been successfully running it. So over these 6 years, American Center Tashkent supported 29 projects through PD and American Spaces funded grants for a total of about $177,000. So last year, ACT funded 6 projects with a total budget of about $23,000, which were aimed to organize and deliver Python programming courses, climate literacy program, women's discussion club, citizen journalism, and media literacy workshops. So in order to wider the audiences, all our projects in the previous fiscal year, they were delivered virtually online, sometimes through Zoom, sometimes through other platforms. It depends on the grantees, whatever they chose. And this allowed us to increase our audience and reach out to people in other towns of our cities of Uzbekistan, not just Tashkent. So let's go further. This year, what are we looking at this year, and what are the programming priorities? This year, special attention will be paid to grant proposals that engage Uzbek audiences through innovative virtual programming, particularly in media literacy and countering disinformation, STEM, women empowerment, and climate change. So we will support grantees who can explore and inspire by new ideas, skills, and opportunities, and that have the power to bring positive change to individuals' life, communities, country, bilateral and regional relations, and global challenges. So if you look, if we look at it closely, so we are hoping to find appropriate implementers for people to organize and deliver computer and internet literacy courses, climate literacy courses or projects, citizen journalism, media literacy, and women empowerment. A little bit about the federal assistance team. When you get a grant, it means you get a federal assistance award. So the team that you will be working with are grants officers, grants officer representative, and grants admin. So grants officer is a mandatory control point of record with the recipient of all official communication that may affect the budget, the project scope, or terms and conditions of the award. So the grants officer is the main person who decides whether you are going to get the money or not. And grants officer prepares and executes amendments to the award. the authority to make grants-related decisions belong exclusively to the grants officer. So another person who you will, if you get a grant, who you will be working closely with is grants officer representative. This is the person who maintains frequent communication with the grantee, review all grantees' reports, attend, monitor, and evaluate project activities and progress, process amendments, prepare payment packages, knowing activities are on track, and submit them to the financial office here, and upload documents to our system, that grant system that we have in place. Another person is grants admin. It's, in our case, it's a resource coordination specialist, Anarkon Karimova. She's involved in all grants discussions, provides technical review to ensure all grants are in line with latest guidance, and budget line items are linked up specifically with the grants process. So she serves as a first stop for all grants officer representatives' questions and helps with grants, and provides internal audit to all budget-related operations in our section, public diplomacy section. So if you apply for the American Center Tashkent grants, you will get an award to an individual. And we will talk about it specifically in a few minutes, but before that, I would like to mention that all the grants that American Center Tashkent posts are competed in a full and open manner. So which means we just announce it openly to everyone. Open competition demonstrates the department's commitment to transparency and fairness, and often results in applications that new recipients that we had not considered are getting a grant. So the type of the award, as I told you earlier, will be issued is an award to individual, which means it's an award to a specific person to carry out the activities as outlined in federal award. The recipient of the award to an individual is a single person, not an organization, not a group of people. So if you're going to apply, you should apply as an individual person. Awards should not be issued to one individual with the purpose to disseminate funding to other participants, providing the same shared service. For example, let me just give you an example. You have several performers, several people who are doing the grant, and you apply as one person, and then those people do the activities for you, and then you just pay to them. This is not how this works. You apply as an individual, you do everything, all the activities in your grant. So awards to individual generally use fixed pricing with no financial reporting required and no reimbursement expected if the recipient spends less than budgeted to complete the program. However, in some cases, a budget that is not fixed might be more appropriate. So this depends on the program and on the grants officer's decision. Also, applications must be submitted in English. You can do your project in Uzbek or in Russian, but make sure to submit your application in English, and proposed budget must be denominated in US dollars. So if you're planning to spend US sums, you need to change it, count it in US dollars. So whatever you put in your application, your budget breakdown should be in US dollars. So your reporting will also be required in English, and budget reporting will be in dollars. Okay.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Can we wait a little bit while we finish the presentation, and then we'll take questions, okay? Thank
Okay.
you. Okay, so when we consider the applications, we will be looking at how responsive the proposal to the objective of the to the objectives of the program, and also we'll look at the overall quality of the proposal, whether the applicant has the capacity to successfully implement the program, and whether the application is the budget application is real, the level of realism of the proposed budgets. Just to give an example, let's say you're doing a 3-week project and you are budgeting for 10 computers, to buy 10 computers to do a 3-week project. This is not realistic. We're not going to pay for 10 computers for such a short period project. Just an example. Like, you need to be realistic. Some of the things that we wanted to mention is we prioritize online projects because this way we want to cover bigger audiences and let people outside Tashkent from other regions participate. So you still can apply for an in-person project to do it in person, but online projects will be prioritized. Your project shouldn't be more than 12 months long, no more than a year. Think about a project that is no more than a year. And as I already mentioned, it's a grant to an individual, so the applicant or you should be doing it, and you're not hiring anyone, any contractor, to do the activities to implement the project instead of you. So if you already looked at the application form, you probably saw there is a budget part of it. You need to be very specific about the budget, what you have on your proposal. In general, there are 8 direct cost categories in federal award budget. You can see them here: personnel, fringe benefits, travel, equipment, supplies, contractual, construction, and other direct costs. But in your case, the ones that are relevant are only personnel, equipment, supplies, contractual, and other direct costs. So let me just stop on each of them so that you understand what these costs are for. The personnel category includes the salaries and wages for non-federal entity personnel who will be working on the project. So that's for the grantee. The budget narrative should indicate the base salary and time each person will spend on the project. The narrative should also include any method used to arrive to the request amount. What this means, it means if you ask a certain amount for an honorarium, we need to know, where did you get this number? How did you come up with this number? How many hours? How many dollars per hour you're requesting? And you also need to have it reflected in your narrative. I'm skipping fringe and travel because we're not covering any travel by these grants. You're not getting this grant to travel somewhere or to have someone travel here or go and study. This is not the case here this time. Equipment. So equipment is defined as tangible personal property with a purchase price of $5,000 or more and having a useful life of more than 1 year. If equipment is on the proposed budget, it is important to determine if it's necessary to the project, if it's reasonable to purchase instead of rent the equipment, and if the entity has adequate internal property standards. Again, what it means, equipment is something big. It's something that costs more than $5,000. Before you put this in your budget, think whether you actually need this equipment or not, because it's expensive, whether it's reasonable to buy such an expensive thing, whether you will get any. So is there a way to rent this expensive equipment for the period of your project? So think about it. Supplies. Supplies includes all tangible personal property other than those described as equipment. So everything which is less than $2,000 is supplies. Put it under supplies. For example, a computing device is a supply if the acquisition cost is less than $5,000, regardless of the length of its useful life. It's also important to confirm that the proposed supplies are necessary for the project and if the entity has adequate internal property standards. So do you need this for your project or not? Think about it. If not, then don't ask to cover the budget. Okay, so contractual. The contract must be necessary for the award for the purpose of obtaining goods and services for the recipient's own use and creates a procurement relationship. A consulting agreement with a consultant or contractor is generally considered a contract. The recipient should include the budget breakdown for any contract for grants officers' approval and review and approval. So contractual doesn't mean that you contract someone to do your project. It means that if you need some goods for your project, as an example would be you want promotional materials with American Center Tashkent logo. Then you can hire a contractor to print American Center Tashkent on T-shirts, let's say. Yeah, so that will be a contractual service. Just an example. You cannot request any budget for construction through this individual grants. Other direct costs are costs that are not included in the categories above. This category may include individuals' operating expenses that are directly linked to the award, but not included as an indirect cost. So something that you need to make this project successful. All right. Now I would like to go through the template that I hope everyone has received. Let me just stop sharing and open the application form. All right, so this is the application form that you received, or if you haven't received yet, you will. This is how it looks, and it's actually very straightforward, and it has explanations on what you need to write, but let's just look at it. Here we have name, you put your full name, your address, where you live, your phone number, how we can reach out to you, your email address. This is something very basic. In the background of your of the applicant, your background, you describe your academic and professional background, or any significant achievements that you would like to share with us. I would like to know that we don't want too much information because we will have your CV, we will have your resume. So just something that you think would help us choose you. For example, whether you've done this kind of projects before, or maybe you have education to do the project that you're applying for. In the U.S. government exchange program, you will include, if you were on any U.S. government exchange program, please put it here, what kind of program, which years, and that's it. If you are not a U.S. government exchange program alumni, then alumnus or alumna, then don't write it, keep it blank. In the grants received, you put all the information on the grants that you have received, not just from the U.S. Embassy, but maybe some other organizations. Put all of them here, preferably with the dates so that we understand when this was. So, and starting from number 3, this is the most important information that we will be looking at while considering the applications. Project description. You will need to define the problem statement. What is the subject of your grant application, and also don't forget to include your research findings. Whenever you are doing something, proposing something, you of course do research, right? Beforehand, you consider whether this project will be helpful for the society or not. So include your research findings here. In the goal statement, you describe the project of the purpose of your project. You talk about your work plan, how you will achieve the goal. It says if you request travel grant, don't pay attention to this. This grant is not for travel. So just your goals and how you're going to achieve this. In the project justification, you cover everything to tell us that this project is important. So why should it be funded? What difference will it make in your region or in Uzbekistan? Who will be affected by the project? And you also need to think about the outcomes. What are the expected long-term effects of the project? How this will help the society, Uzbekistan. In the project dates, you put the dates when you want to start your project and when you want to finish your project. And the amount requested, you write. So here, that's important because many people skip this. In number 4, budget breakdown in US dollars, you don't just write the number. Here you write a narrative. You explain us what you need and why, for what reason you are requesting this money. So if you see here is a table, total budget of the project, you write how much you want. Put your item expenses. In the first column, we just talked about what you can request. Amount of units, how many items of which, cost per unit, and total. So whatever you put in this table should be reflected in the budget breakdown number 4 in a narrative. So we need to understand, okay, this number, why, and we read a narrative explaining why this should, why this should be funded. All right, so then you check that you submitted your CV, your resume, answered all the questions, put your name, date when you submitted it, and send it to tashkentact@state.gov. All right, so that's pretty much it. Let me just stop sharing this one and finish with the PowerPoint. Just a reminder about the timeline. We announced the call for proposal on May 26th. So you had some time to already plan. I know some people already sent their applications. If you want to, after this information session, if you want to resend your updated application, it's fine. We're still open to applications receiving. June 8th, which is today, we have our information session. The deadline for application submission is June 14th. So make sure you send us your application before June 15th. So June 14th is the last day when you can submit your application. And hopefully June 21st through 28th, you will hear from us. We usually notify only selected applicants, but you can always email us and ask. So we talked about the general information on the ACT, grants background information, our programming priorities, evaluation criteria. We walked through the grants application form, and now it's time for questions. So if you have questions, you can unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand, or just write your question in the comment in the chat box.
Diego Shan, can I ask some questions?
Sure.
Actually, I have a few, but you have answered some of them. There is a little bit confusion for me regarding subcontracting. As I understand, this is not possible. A grantee should deliver the project him herself, but at the same time, there is such a category as personnel. And I think it's applicable for this small grant program. I understood that it's only grantee who delivers all the services, but then who can be the personnel? What kind of relationship is possible with the personnel? The salary for the person, it means that there is someone to be hired, at least for some, I don't know, services or what?
No, the personnel is the grantee, because the grantee is going to do the work, right? Probably
Okay.
want to get honorarium for their work, so that's no one else
Okay,
can get.
it should be solely delivered everything by the applicant about grantee.
Right.
Yes, it's clear.
For the work that the grantee cannot do by him or herself, like for example, some small work to receive goods, to receive services, or like for example, yeah, just as I mentioned, like
Yeah, with
painting, raw materials.
contractual services, it's clear. Well, thank you. And one more question, if there we have time. Regarding equipment, everything that costs more than 5,000, right? Are we talking about the total amount that exceeds 5,000 or per item?
You mean for equipment?
Yes, there is such a category, equipment, and here it's everything that costs more than 5,000, but I mean, it's more in total, there could be some items, and in total, they cost more than 5,000, or it's per
Well,
item.
yeah, I got your question. It depends. For example, a computer can cost more than 5,000, then it's an item, right?
Yes.
But if you need several computers for one project and it's still equipment,
Yeah.
and it's more than 5,000, it's
still, yeah. And the same approach to supplies, more in total, less than 5,000, right? I think I have one more question, if it's okay to ask. This other direct cost, since online projects will be given a priority, can it be like Zoom subscription, license subscription for Zoom? Can it be one of those
yes,
items?
definitely.
Thank you. Thank you. You've answered all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm looking at the chat box, and there is a question from Ahror. How many candidates can get grants according to each theme, computer and internet literacy? If I'm interested. Okay, so we are planning to fund one project. So if you're applying and some other person is applying, right now we want to choose only one. The best project will be funded. So I hope that answers your question. Gulnoza is asking, could you please share the PowerPoint from after session? I was like, yes, just as I mentioned, we're recording the session and you will be able to see the recording on the American Spaces YouTube channel. We'll also share the link on our Telegram where you can watch the session.
Sorry, can I also ask?
Sure.
Hello, thank you very much for your information. And I had a problem with document that when I was downloading, it was there was three documents, right? One was a template that you explained, and as two of them. I had a problem to download of them, and then I called them. They sent me the JPEG form. Still, it was a problem to download. I don't know, something is wrong with my computer, or I don't know. Even I installed the new version. So can you just share as a PDF form these two other documents, the group maybe, or maybe, I don't know, send them to our email if we ask in the email.
Yeah, I actually emailed you. I do remember your email. I did email you the PowerPoint that we have. I don't see, I mean, however we could help, we did the JPEG. That's the only version we have. And
Could you also
just recommend
tell
update.
more about these two other documents? Template is understandable, very clear, but another two documents, could you explain that once?
I would recommend at this point to focus on the grant application. We did post in the announcement that we do need these two forms to be sent to us, but it's fine. Just send us your excuse me, your application form and your CV, and this will be enough. I know many people have problems filling in the forms because there are some specific terms. We're not going to stop on this at this point. Just the form, application form, and the CV would be enough.
And also, may I ask one more? So one person can only apply for one project, right? Like, for example, can I apply for two projects if I have already two of them that I have been thinking for a long time? Can I apply for
you can apply for several projects if it's if you feel that you do plan well for both projects, no problem. But only one project from one person will be chosen. I mean, you won't be able to projects different areas. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you, Devarhan. I see Ilham raised his hand. Ilham, do you want to unmute yourself? Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
My name is Ilham. I have bachelor's degree in field of ecology, but now I'm not a researcher. I'm not a scientist. I work as an X-ray technician, like a chemist analyst in cement factory. Can I apply in this case for the grant? Or is it required to be a researcher or scientist for grants?
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question because many people are not experts in what they're applying for. But if you have enough knowledge in what you're applying for, and if you justify in your application form that you have enough experience and capability to implement this project, to share whatever you know with others, and you and we see that you will be capable to do that, you don't have to be an expert. I mean, like certified expert to do the project.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Gulnoza, do you have a question?
Last year I applied for this program, but I didn't have that session. I just wrote everything like a little bit spontaneously, like a Word document, and I sent my part was women empowerment. And this year, what's the difference between that year and this year? I'd like to ask. I mean, the same requirements, the same amount of money, and because
Yeah,
I
we
was
don't
not
have.
listening it from the beginning of the session, I don't know the amount of money and those little bit things.
So we don't have specific requirements on the women empowerment project. So if you have a good project in mind that you think will work to empower women, should be something interesting, something inspiring, then you can do that. Yeah, again, there are no specific amount of budget that you can that you need to apply for. It depends on your project. It depends on your idea. You propose, and then we look at the proposal and decide whether this is gonna work for us or not.
If possible, I would ask one more question.
Is there any steps? Are there any steps which we should, pass, like one first, second, third step, or like will we be interviewed after being accepted?
There will be, yeah. If your application looks good, then we definitely will be in touch with a grant proposed grantee. We will definitely be in touch with people. It's not going to be an official interview, but we want to talk to the person, make sure we understand each other. Yeah. Okay. Did it answer? I hope so. I'm looking at the chat again, and there is a question from Madina to make sure within the project implementation period, if to say I need to hire an assistant, that would not be allowable. That is correct, Madina. Hiring an assistant is not allowable for an individual grant.
Internet connection is stable.
So may I ask again one more question, please, if possible?
Yes.
Maybe I was a bit late for the session. Maybe I missed some parts. So I'd like to ask about renting the place. For example, if I need a place to rent for my project, like for the sessions, even if I'm having some online sessions, I need some good place to be, projectors, maybe like this. So for the renting, will it be included in the budget? Should I include it in the budget, like monthly?
Rent a place to stay in when you do an online session, or did I understand you correctly?
Sorry, what did you say?
You said you want to rent a place for yourself to do online sessions. Is that?
No, not online sessions. I mean for the class. If there are people come for the sessions, maybe the lectures and the mentorship programs, maybe the classes, classes, maybe.
Yeah, you can include it if your project is in person.
Yeah, it is
just
the
to reiterate,
person. Because
just to
the
reiterate
previous
what I said before, we are prioritizing online projects.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Question from Dr. Murat, does the age of candidate matter? The answer is yes, the age matters. So we don't want people underage. You need to be experienced, which means you're not a school student. I mean, not high school student, definitely. You need to have a bank account and you need to be able to do like all the financial operations with us. It's yeah, the age matters. Any other questions?
Yes, I have one. Like, can you share the projects of the previous winners, or like, can we have something like this?
Can you repeat your question, please?
Can you share the project of previous winners?
You mean applications?
Yes, like the successful ones.
No, we cannot share applications. It's confidential information.
Okay, thank you very much.
A question from Ahror. I have already sent my application form. Is there, if there is something, if there is a mistake inside the application form, can I resend? Yes, you can resend it by the deadline if you still want to change something. So please don't send your applications multiple times because this will confuse us. We might just, lose the right one. So I would suggest to think about it and send one final, but you can, yeah.
Hi, Gulshan.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing? Hello, everyone.
Aziz.
Yes, I have one question, if possible, please.
Sure.
I applied last year and I was awarded for this grant, and I would like to ask, is it possible to apply this year as well? And there will be priority for newcomers, or it's same for all again? Thank you.
Yes, that's a good question. It's open for everyone. So if you got the grant already, this doesn't mean that we will exclude you from the pool of applicants. It will only depend on your application. If it's as amazing as it was last year, we will choose the applicant. If not, then not. I mean, it's not. Sometimes you have a good application, but then you have other people with better idea. So it's just depending on how many applicants, what kind of applications we get. Yeah, you're not excluded.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. I see a question from Olim. Where can I get the application? That's a good question. And it's actually something that I wanted to show to you. Let me open the website real quick and I'll show where you can get it. Okay, so I'm going to the US Embassy website, which is us.usembassy.gov. And I'll share my screen just in a minute. Okay. So here I'm on the US Embassy website. It's us.usembassy.gov, and if you go to education and culture, and when you go, sorry, I'm confusing you, not education and culture. Just a sec. Not business, not relations, not business for sure. Education and culture. Okay, I'm right, yes. If you go to education and culture and you go to small grants program under local programs, and here you'll see a number of funding opportunities from the US Embassy and the American Center Tashkent ACT grants. It's on the bottom here. You click on it, you read all the information, and it says to apply, complete the grant application form. You click on the form and it will automatically upload the form for you. Okay. Stop sharing. Okay, I hope that helped.
Gulshan, I'm sorry, one more question I have.
Sure.
What are the dates like suitable for the project, like starting from September, or there is no any restriction for that?
Can you repeat your question? What is the
What
date
is
for your
the
project?
what is the preferable date is for the project to be implemented?
Okay. Good question. Also might be useful for others. There is no specific date. We already have funds. We received the funds. So once we close the call for applications and look at all of the applications, we notify successful applicants. Then you can start your project whenever you want. So theoretically, if we finish like end of June, so you probably will be able to start July, August. Yeah, you can also start September if you want to. It depends on
Okay.
you.
Okay, I got it. Thank you very much.
Preferably August, September.
Yeah.
Can I ask one question regarding these
Sure.
two attachments, attachment 2 and 3? So just to make sure, we don't need to submit them, right? Only
Not at this. Yes. Yeah, not at this
Mhm.
point. You will have to submit them later if you're chosen, but
Okay.
don't care about it now. We just need your application form and your CV.
Okay, thank you.
Question from Zulfiya. I'm 17, but I have a lot of achievements. Can I still try applying? Will you still consider it? That's a good question. You still can apply. We cannot tell you not to apply. If you justify that you are a great grantee to do the project, yes, you can. Do you have a bank account? Will your parents allow this? This is a different question. You have to have it. So if yes, then you can do that.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Hello. My question, like, do someone monitor the our expense, or how can we inform the embassy or someone? For example, should we show our checks? Like, how can we inform?
You will have to. You are required to provide reports. For individual grants, it's usually fixed amount grants, grants with a fixed amount, which means when you apply for a budget, you already have everything spelled out, everything in your budget, and you will spend this amount. And if you spend less, so you're not supposed to spend less or more. So you only spend how much you requested.
Okay.
It's not always like that, but usually. If this is not a fixed amount, a budget with a fixed amount, then you will have to send us financial reports. And in any case, you always need to save your receipts with a budget amount. You are not required to share the receipts with us, but if there is any audit, you have to have them. You just keep them. Okay. Yeah, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. Thanks.
I don't see the hands. It's just a different platform. So probably I just don't see them. So if you have a hand up, just unmute yourself and start talking. A question from Ilham. Can I apply for the grant if I work? I'm not a scientist. Okay, I answered the question. Yes, you can work and do the grant. I wouldn't suggest to apply for a grant if you're younger than 18. But if you justify that you're a wonderful person to implement a grant, yes, try. Also make sure you have a bank account, you have all the like how independent are you from your parents? Will you have to involve your parents in all the activities? I mean, financial activities. That's going to be complicated.
Sorry, just want to clarify something again.
Sure.
About the project that I was planning to have the offline real class ones for the territory because I have been planning it for a long time, but you say this is the online ones will be given more priority. So this is now I'm confused. So will you still be taking into consideration the importance of the project, or still you will be giving more priority for the online ones?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we will still be considering all the projects, but of course the priority will go to the online ones because we want to cover people in the regions as well.
So and also that you will give the priority for the regions. That's another question.
No,
Distance
it
areas.
doesn't.
Distance areas.
It doesn't matter. We don't look at the region. We look at the project.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Marhabo is asking, can we apply for a grant if the project will be implemented within the organization, but the project will only be carried out by the person applying? If the project will be carried out by the person applying, then it's a grant to an individual. It cannot be through an organization. It's a grant to an individual. Home is asking, how can we apply? I just showed it. It's on the embassy website. Yes, I can confirm that only 2 documents are sufficient at this point. It's your application and your CV. Should salary be included in budget? It can be an honorarium. You don't call it a salary, you call it an honorarium, and it should be clear where did you get this amount, how many hours, and how much you asked for. You also have to justify it in your narrative. Okay, any other questions?
I have one. Can I ask?
Sure.
I have a question about project description. Should we describe our project in details, or only description with budget will be enough for taking a
No,
grant?
you have to describe the project in details. The more details you give to us, the more understanding we get about the project, and the more possibilities you have to win the grant, because we need to understand what is going to happen, what is your idea, why, how you will be doing that. So the more details you provide, the better.
Okay, I want to apply for the field of ecology, water resources, saving water supply. So thank you for answer.
Okay. All right, I see that we don't have any other questions. Sardar, do you see any questions that I don't see? Okay, he says no. All right, thanks everyone for joining. I hope that was helpful, and you can go back and watch the presentation if you came late or if you want more details. All right, good luck everyone, and hope to see your applications in our mailbox. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.